Yeah, so I guess I wanted to now take it back to the big picture item and really give some food for thought to hopefully spur some discussion amongst this group. Because I imagine, yeah, a lot of the philosophical points that we touched on are something that resonates very well with yeah, this particular group of people and is something we want to work towards solving. Great. So here's one big meta question. What is the most actionable UI for trying to nudge developers towards these mitigation suggestions? Um, why do developers end up, yeah, maybe coming up with some code samples that are not as unique? Are they influenced by some other literature that's out there? Uh, how do you get more mind share to some of these safer practices that we want to recommend as a group? Um, Here is the second big meta question, number two, which is the dependency story. So as Kian and Guillaume mentioned, there is an element of we can control our own code and adopt safe coding practices there. But in a world where most of the code that we end up shipping is actually built from the node modules folder. How do we get a grip on that problem? How do we uplift the entire ecosystem so that we don't end up with more cases where we have code that is not as fixable because it's not code that we own, right? And here's another meta question that I will leave you with, which is, yeah, how do we really close this gap? And I think the interest in these security topics for web developers. I personally think web developers are a very innovative and curious crowd, and they were very excited about new technologies, about learning, yeah, new very niche topics and exploring down the rabbit hole. But it seems that like in the yeah in the space there is still not as much I think like penetration of this knowledge of in the security domain as we'd like to see. So, what are some things we can do as a group to really push that along as well? So, with that, I guess yeah, I wanted to thank you all for coming to this talk, and we will move on to the question/discussion section. Um, and again, thank you again for the hosts. Yeah, Dan and Simone for yeah letting us talk a little bit about some of this exciting work.